All right, it is Sunday, May 31st, and I would like to go over how I'm viewing the market today. And I have changed my layout a little bit. I've decided to use different Fibonacci EMAs, and so let me explain my layout from scratch again. Or for the first time, this is a new layout. So for the exponential moving averages, I do like to use Fibonacci numbers because of getting kind of equal spacing between each one. But I don't want to have all of these exponential moving averages on my chart. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with one. That's basically the price. The one EMA is the same, like if you're using the closing price. And then we'll skip the next two, which brings us to the 3. So we'll use the 3 EMA. And we'll skip the 5 and skip the 8. And we'll use the 13 EMA. We'll skip the 21 and the 34 and use the 55 EMA, and then we'll skip the 89 and the 144 and use the 233 EMA. So we'll be using these 5 exponential moving averages. We've got the price, we've got the 3, the 13, the 55, and the 233. I do like this better because it's kind of an industry standard that everybody looks at the 50-day, and the 55-day exponential is very similar to the 50-day simple. And also everybody likes to look at the 200-day moving average. And this 233 EMA is going to be similar to your 200-day simple moving average. So these are the EMAs that I'm going to focus on. And I created a new indicator. This is inspired by Mike Webster. He has an indicator called the Fibonacci. And so let me pull up that window. And he would use like all of the EMAs from 1 to 233 and see which ones are above the other. But with me using just these 5, so basically I'll go through and I'll ask, is the 1 above the 3? If so, then plus 1. Is the 1 above the 13? If yes, then plus 1. Is the 1 above the 55? Then plus 1. And so on till we get to the 1 is above the 233. Then we go to the 3. Is the 3 above the 13? Is the 3 above the 55? Is the 3 above the 233? Then we go to the 13. Is the 13 above the 55? Is the 13 above the 233? And then finally we go to the 55. Is the 55 above the 233? And so if all of these answers are yes, then that's 10 points. So it gives you a score from 0 to 10. And that tells you what the trend, what's going on with the trend. So let me show you what that looks like. This is what I'm calling the Fib EMA trend stack, and again, it's inspired by Mike Webster. So here, here's the graph, the chart of SPY. I've got the 3, the 13. The 55 and the 233, and this histogram here is the Fib EMA stack score. So 10 out of 10 is what we currently have on the SPY. We can see back here May 15th through May 19th we had dropped down to a 9 out of 10, but pretty much we're holding up here at 9, 10. So I've color coded the 9s and 10s, this light green. Back here we were at an 8. I've color-coded 8s and 7s as dark green. Yellow is 5s and 6s. Orange is 4s and 3s. And then red is 2s and 1s. Zeros don't show up on the histogram. Just let's look at one where the trend is not so good. Like for example, we'll look at Bitcoin. So here you can see the 3 is below the 13, it's below the 55, everything's below the 233. So this is what a chart looks like that's not uptrending. That's Bitcoin. Or we could look at gold. Gold is also struggling a little bit. We can look at IWM, Russell 2000. It's 10 out of 10. You can see back here, May 15th, it dropped down to an 8 and a 7, and then recovered back up to the 9s and 10s. So this is just a quick way for me to have a histogram to look at to know if the trend is in my favor or not. I want to see higher scores closer to 10 for a good uptrend. So that's the new indicator, the Fib-EMA trend stack. And then I also have changed my momentum indicators. I previously had BX fast, BX mid, and BX slow. I wasn't really using the BX fast because it was too fast for it to be of use to me, and the BX mid was a little bit too slow. So what I've done, I'm going to go ahead and turn what I'm calling my short-term momentum. This is most similar to what we were previously calling the BX mid, and then I've got this long-term momentum, which is most similar to what we were calling the BX slow. And let me go through my definitions for those. So what I'm calling short-term momentum here is we're doing the 13-day RSI of the 13 EMA minus the 55 EMA. So we're looking at the interplay between the 13 and the 55. And then at the end I subtract 50, so that gives me a score between negative 50 and 50. And the long-term momentum is measuring the interplay between the 55 and the 233, and it does an RSI over a 55-day look back. And again, I'm subtracting 50 at the end. So that's what I'm calling long-term momentum. Okay, so those are my indicators. And then down here at the bottom, you can see I have the ATR. So this gives the ATR in points is the first number, and then as a percentage is the second number. I have a use for each of those. Okay, so that's what that's my new layout for my indicators. Now let's go through and take a look and see how the market is doing. We'll go back to the chart for SPY. This is a daily chart, and we're going to go to year-to-date view. And so we can see the trend is 10 out of 10. The short-term momentum is green, 36 out of 50, and the long-term momentum is also bright green. If we look at the equal weight S&P 500 RSP, very similar, and so we do have good market breadth. And then if we look at the NASDAQ composite, very similar. The NASDAQ 100 QQQ, very similar. Equal weight NASDAQ 100. Very similar. And I've added the Mag 7 so we can keep track of the ultra large cap stocks. Magnificent 7 also 10 out of 10 on the trend. Bright green for short and long-term momentum. The Dow looking good. We can see long-term momentum has just turned green. The mid caps looking good, and the small cap also looking good. And then the FFTY, this is the IBD 50. This is used to see how growth stocks are doing. So we did have a little bit of a fade in short-term momentum on Friday, turning to dark green, but the fib EMA trend stack is still 10 out of 10. And next we'll look at the volatility index, the VIX. We want to see this low. We've got the trend stack is red, the short-term momentum is red, the long-term momentum is red. This is exactly what we want to see. Next, we'll take a look at the 11 spider sector ETFs. By the way, the color codes on all of these tickers are according to the short-term momentum. So first up, XLB. We do have 10 out of 10 on the trend. The short-term momentum is gaining, but it's still red. So we're waiting for this to turn green. We'd also like to see the long-term momentum shift from dark green to bright green. The discretionary sector, XLY, looks good. We've got the long-term momentum is still light red, but it's increasing. Short-term momentum is green and increasing, and the fib EMA trend stack is 9 out of 10. Healthcare sector, XLV, looking good. The financial sector, XLF, you can see it's been running pretty flat here. We do have long-term momentum starting to increase, short-term momentum trying to build, and the trend stack is 6 out of 10. So we need to see some type of breakout above for this to look better. XLK, this is our leading sector. Looks perfect. Consumer staples, XLP. 5 out of 10 on the trend stack. Short-term momentum fading, long-term momentum fading. XLRE, the real estate sector. Short-term momentum has turned red. Got a 7 out of 10 on the trend score. XLE Energy. Short-term momentum is red. Trend score is a 5. Long-term momentum is fading. Industrials, XLI. 9 out of 10 on the trend score. Short-term momentum fading. Long-term momentum kind of hovering around that 0 point. Communications, XLC. 6 out of 10 on the trend score. Short-term momentum is red. Long-term momentum is red. And the utility sector, XLU. 4 out of 10 on the trend score. Red, short-term and long-term momentum. So that's it for the 11 spider sector ETFs. Now let's look at some other asset classes, starting with DXY, this is the dollar. It's been holding kind of flat here recently, but it does have short-term and long-term momentum in its favor. 6 out of 10 on the trend score. Let's look at the 10-year yield. 7 out of 10 on the trend score. Fading short-term momentum, long-term momentum still rising. Next is gold. 5 out of 10 on the trend score. Short-term momentum trying to climb. Long-term momentum still red and fading. Silver. 4 out of 10 on the trend score. Short and long-term momentum red. And Bitcoin. 1 out of 10 on the trend score. Red short-term momentum. Long-term momentum is green but fading. So that's my view of the market here for May 31st, 2026, and this is my new layout that I'll be trying out.